This is the Art Beauty Podcast where we tell the real truth about the fake shit. I'm Amber. Today, my gorgeous co-host is Dr. Jennifer Jablow. She is a New York City-based cosmetic dentist responsible for so many of the smiles that we see on magazines, on TV, and dentist also to Ashley Graham. So we're going to talk about her in a second. You're also founder of the intelliWHiTE at-home teeth whitening system, which is one of the #1 teeth whitening systems sold on TV. Also won a 2021 New Beauty Award. Congratulations for that. And welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. You know, I love New Beauty and so appreciative of the award and all the great press we've gotten over the years. And intelliWHiTE's been around. We've just celebrated our 12th anniversary. So it's
wow.
It's a big deal. Yeah.
Good for you. You know, before we get into talking about the product, Ashley Graham, I had the pleasure of meeting her. We did a local Fox interview and I was chatting with her in the green room. What a lovely woman. She is so fun.
I've known for probably about 12 years as well, before she married, before she met Justin, before she became the super famous. She's always been so beautiful. But what I love about her is, besides the fact that she's just like hilarious.
Yeah.
She's so down to earth and the same person, just as famous as she is now. She's like the same person she was that I knew 12 years ago, just really down to earth, really funny. The only thing that I'll still be mad at her is one day she showed me Dr. Pimple Popper while she was sitting in the chair. And it was like the worst thing I've ever seen on TV. I don't know how people are obsessed with that, but I literally was like working on her and almost vomited right there in the chair.
Thank you for bringing that up. You know, today I was like, I didn't have time to wolf down a lunch and now I've lost my appetite because it is disgusting.
I know.
It is, it is disgusting.
Yes.
Okay.
And people say to me, as a dentist, how do you look at people's mouths? It's so gross. No, there's nothing that can happen in the mouth that is as disgusting as that show and that Instagram. I would never.
You know, there's a lot of just, I think, gross things. I mean, look, how do surgeons get in there? And like, I've been in a room during a liposuction. I had to, with my camera crew, we were shooting one. This was years and years ago. There was a woman who was getting, and she had quite a bit of fat removed from her thighs. And I had to ask my camera guys, listen, is anybody squeamish? If you see the blood, are you going to pass out? No, fine. She was awake during the whole procedure and we were talking to her. But it's kind of like, when you really think about it, you know, I've watched enough TV and seen like enough blood and gore that I think I can kind of pretend like it's that.
Yeah, no. So, but anyway.
And don't even get me started on a gynecologist. I mean, God bless you,
no.
But okay.
God, no. But anyway, back to Ashley. Yeah, she's awesome. She's expecting twins, which I know way ahead of everybody else. And I'm actually a twin myself. So we've been chatting about it a lot. She's been asking me, ask my mom for stories. We have hilarious stories. So she's going to have her hands full. Definitely.
Are you identical or fraternal?
No, I have a twin brother. I'm actually one of the first. I just turned 48. So this is how far back this goes. My mom took fertility to have us. Okay. And she lost multiples before us. So we're kind of like science experiments, my brother and I. So we're obviously fraternal because we didn't come from the same egg. But there's definitely a bond between twins, and we had our own language, and it was called gibberish. And we used to do really naughty things when our cribs were right next to each other. So Ashley's gotten a laugh from a lot of it, but she'll be great. I mean, that girl's superwoman. She's going to be fine.
I was going to ask you, like, are like all the things that they say about twins with the special language, with the special connection, is that true? But you just answered that.
Absolutely.
Let me just tell you, God bless your mom, and what a good science experiment you were, because you're stunningly beautiful.
Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you.
Oh my goodness. And 48, you know what? I feel like it's so funny these days, but you know, so we grew up, we're pretty close in age, and 48, 50, it's not what it used to be when we were growing up.
Well, no, because somebody like J-Lo makes 51 or 52 look like it's like a 30-year-old, and it's definitely not.
So do you. Let's be honest. Thanks. You're making everything like you look gorgeous.
It's the olive oil, right?
I love J-Lo. She can do no wrong, but I'm just, you know, what I always say is like, go back and watch like some of the earlier movies.
Yeah. I'm very, very consistent with skincare. I eat really clean. It's a hard job to look young honestly, to like, try and maintain. I'm on TV all the time with my product line and, selling confidence and beauty, and you want to feel good about yourself. I need to feel good about myself too. So, I don't drink very much because I can't recover from that very well. It's not like I'm in my 20s anymore.
It's real. It's funny. I tell people now in their 20s, I'm like, all the things that you hear, it's true. But when we heard it in our 20s, we're like, yeah. Even in my 30s, I was like, whatever. But it's true. You can't.
The stuff I did to my body while like I was in dental school, I would drink Diet Cokes that were like, this big, and Diet Coke literally is like the worst thing for your teeth and your whole GI system. I paid the price for it later, but literally it can, like, if you put a tooth inside Coca-Cola, you ever see that science experiment?
Yeah. And it like
the tooth enamel.
Yeah.
So I'm all about, and I brought it into my line, I'm all about like alkalinizing everything, because alkalinizing your body. I drink hot water with like a teaspoon of baking soda every day, because that's alkalizing. And
God bless you. Yeah, I have to be honest. I'm going to have a little confession right here. I still drink Diet Coke, but I get the mini bottles.
It's such a hard habit to break. I know.
It's not, it's just, and it's not an everyday thing. It's just when I want something, like if I'm eating like I do salads generally for lunch, and like sometimes like a 3 o'clock, I can't drink coffee. This is full of water right now, but I have 2 cups in the morning. And if I have it at night, or in the afternoon, I'll be up all night. So I can have my coffee before 10 a.m. So sometimes just like a little bit of that caffeine boost and a little bit of the sweetness.
I know. Believe me, I used to like see as a reward. Like after I got off air at HSN, a Diet Coke. But after a while, my body was like, heck no. Because as you get older, you just got to listen to your body. So So anyway, 40, looking young at 48 is a hard job.
You're doing it. And I'm going to use that as a way to segue, because I feel like right now, we're in 2022, thank God, because, just another new year, who knows what this one will bring, but, so many people right now, they're going back to the gym. They're focused on their bodies. Everybody's focused on nutrition, and they're all like, everybody's a new diet, new us. But one of the best ways to sort of begin a new you is through a smile makeover. And one of the easiest ways to do it is through teeth whitening.
Yeah. And whitening at home has never been easier. Obviously you want to get a line that has, a lot of clinical studies and a lot of reputable claims behind it, because you see so many things on Instagram and on internet these days, and they make all these wild claims. But you want something that is going to be good for you. There's a lot of weird gimmicky things that are toothpaste. They're heavily loaded with abrasives that can actually remove your enamel, which we'll get to and we'll talk about. So, it's really important to actually look even at the ingredient list in the toothpaste. Does it have parabens? Does it have saccharin? Does it have dyes? You don't want any of that stuff. It's honestly, when you brush your teeth, which you have to do twice a day anyway, 90% of it gets absorbed into your bloodstream. Because remember, I actually take vitamins like under my tongue, so it gets into my bloodstream really quickly. Well, what do you think happens when you're brushing your teeth? A lot of that stuff gets absorbed. I
never thought of that. It's so funny. I've interviewed dentists before, and people are mixed on, the whitening toothpaste. Something that is really touching your teeth for so little. I'm not going to say it's not going to work and it's not going to be helpful, but if I was to spend money and save money on a product, I'll probably go for one of, like, if you're spending your money on the whitening, I feel like save a little bit and spend it on a system like yours, or something like the High Smile if you're sensitive to peroxide. Or I'm a huge fan of Crest White strips.
That's where we're going to definitely disagree.
Okay.
Those are the perfect storm for enamel erosion over time.
They're get out. Really
low in water content. They're acidic. And they're so close up against your teeth, with the dehydration that forget about the sensitivity. The sensitivity for most people is like through the roof. I cannot use them for more than 2 seconds.
Oh, really?
Oh my God.
They're the only ones I can use. Well, but I use, there's only one of them that I can use, and it's the 30-minute. So a lot of them are 1 hour. This is like the 30-minute. I think they're called the Glamour White Luxe, and they have like a sticky, and like, they don't get on my gums and they don't bother me. And I only use them, like, I would say I do one every, honestly, probably like once a month. I mean, a box of 28 is how they come, and that, or maybe it's 14. They last me forever. I kind of use it as like a,
I'm glad that you're not using like all of them at once, because 30 minutes of something like that, using it like for 2 weeks straight, can definitely do some erosion to the,
wow.
it's microscopic. You're not going to see it, but you might feel the sensitivity. And then when the enamel starts to erode or causes like these micro openings in the teeth because the pores stay open, you're actually going to stain more after you stop using it.
Get out. Okay.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah.
All right. So let's talk before we go further into the whitening arena. What are some other things that you are seeing now? You know, people come in. I hated this idea, like that there was the Zoom effect, and that, like, I don't know, I think it's kind of marketing gimmicky. Like everybody saw themselves on Zoom. I personally think that, like, during COVID, procedures were up because people were at home and they were like, I can have my liposuction done and not have to go into work, or I can have a little touch up and not have to be seen and just turn my camera off at Zoom. Have you seen more of an increase though to smiles? Because I think in general, that's something that people are starting to do, and older.
You know what? The lot increased, and it was like, it's genius in marketing, because there was actually billboards with this. It was the perfect time to do like Invisalign braces.
Right.
So because you were hiding behind a mask all that time.
Right.
So that was a great time. I do a ton of Invisalign. I'm a huge proponent of Invisalign. I love it. I think it can be life-changing for people, and they can actually even whiten their teeth in the trays while they're, moving their teeth also. So it's kind of like a 2-for-1. I saw a huge uptick in that. I think
I'm getting, by the way, by the time, so being full disclosure here, this is running in the new year. I haven't had it done, but by the time this runs, I will be wearing the in-brace braces, because I decided at 42, I've got some crowding down here. My teeth are really pretty good. But yeah, I was one of the people, I'm like, you know what? And I know a lot of older people right now who are getting braces.
Yeah, why not? Because it's very normal, especially on the lower front teeth, because of hormonal changes, and also from teeth grinding. The pressure from the teeth grinding, makes remodeling in the bone also. So it actually shifts the teeth. So that actually is something that makes your teeth shift more as well. It is the most common thing to see the lower anterior start to crowd. If you don't address it earlier on, and it really starts to crowd, that's when it's harder to address, and it'll be a longer time in orthodontics, and you might not even be a candidate for invisible braces.
Right.
It also can cause problems because you can't clean in those areas. That's where plaque is going to, gunk
build
up the most.
Yeah, they told me too. It's like it causes some pressure on the bone and could eventually cause.
My dog is crying. Jax, what's wrong? he
wants to get on too. So oh, do you need to take care of your dog?
No. He's just a little older, and he wants to jump on the bed, up on the bed, because I'm up in one of the bedrooms.
Got it.
So anyway, teeth whitening during the height of COVID was definitely lower on the scale. People were not necessarily, and I was closed for the first 4 months of COVID, as most dentists were, because we had no idea what the transmission was. Now, I mean, I feel fine, going into the office and seeing my patients. But now, and I'd say about 6 months ago, mid to early 21, teeth whitening was a huge request, because everyone's like, my smile, the masks are coming off, I'm seeing people more. Now I really want to take care of myself. And it's the easiest way to transform yourself, because when your teeth look darker and dingy, you look older, you look like you don't brush your, and people make these bad assumptions about you, like you don't brush your teeth, which is terrible, because anybody can be brushing their teeth every day and still have really dark stains in the inside of their teeth, which regular toothpaste would never address.
Right.
Some people have stains that can't be removed because they were born with them or took certain medications when they were younger, like a tetracycline, and they have to get veneers to cover that up. So, but the assumption.
What about those like little white spots? Are those the stains that those white, how some people have white spots on their teeth?
Those are hypocalcifications. That just means like when they were in in the fetal time within their mother's belly, something like it could have been just a couple minutes, the oxygen dipped or something happened
Oh,
during the
wow.
time the calcium was depositing in the tooth structure. So there was an interruption in the calcium. That's why it's called hypocalcification, meaning less calcium in that certain area where that white spot is.
Wow. Okay. I mean,
Yeah, I'm a
fascinating.
bit of a dental nerd. Like most
Well, I would hope
dentists,
so because you're a dentist, but I mean, I
yeah,
would
but
hope.
most dentists don't have the same understanding, because I'm self-taught, have the same understanding of the chemicals and the whitening and all that stuff.
Mm.
They don't know. A rep comes to their office and says, hey, we have this great whitening, it's Zoom, blah, blah, blah. Okay, sign me up. And then they tell them how to use it. They don't understand the whole process behind it, how to formulate and all that stuff. I know that stuff. It's a little bit different.
We're going to talk about your at-home system
Yeah.
in a minute, but do you have an in-office version of this, or do you use, I mean, my girlfriend, she wore braces, then she had them taken off and she went in she's like, I'm going to get my teeth whitened. They look phenomenal now. She said she did it in office. By the third pass, it was like the formula and the light, she was crawling out of her skin.
Yeah. Yeah. I do use Zoom in my office, but I make my patients go on an anti-sensitivity toothpaste for a whole week beforehand and a whole week
Oh,
afterwards. Otherwise, nobody, it's too strong. It's the heat and the energy coming from the light and
ugh.
the amount of peroxide. I'm not a huge believer in using a huge, very strong amount of peroxide for one time, because your teeth have pores, like your skin have pores. There's always going to be maintenance involved, no matter what, because we're always eating, drinking something that's going to stain the teeth.
Right.
So, it's a
Said Diet
constant
Coke.
push and pull. Right. It's a constant push and pull. So I'm not a huge fan of that, but I do have people who are just extremely busy, and I'm like, and they're traveling the world and whatever. And they're like, I just need to do this and just give it to me. And I'm like, okay.
Well, and also we live in a time of instant results. So
Exactly.
the idea that something could take 2 weeks, it's like, no, thanks. I want it instantly. Let's talk about the intelliWHiTE system. So I have not tried this. I know it's a new beauty award winner, which means that it has been vetted and tried and that the editors absolutely loved it. Tell me, like, how did you come up with this? What are the components?
Oh gosh, well, we have many, many, many different products in the intelliWHiTE line now. The whole philosophy behind intelliWHiTE, when I first started it over 12 years ago, because 12 years ago is when I actually launched on Home Shopping Network, was I was doing a lot of news, especially local news, CBS and whatever in New York, and they would come to me as like a product expert, understanding what were the drawbacks of what was on the shelf, what was going on with the strips, and why were people having problems with the strips and sensitivity. And my patients would always be like, I have nothing to use at home that I really like. The trays that you make, you put the gel in and it gushes all over the place. And you had a hard time getting people to commit to that. The strips sensitivity was a huge issue. And also gum irritation, because a lot of times it sits on the gum tissue, and in close contact with the gum tissue for 30 minutes, you're going to get a lot of gum irritation and actually those white spots on the gums. And sometimes that can be really painful. It's almost like a burn, and then the gum kind of sloughs off. So I was like, well, I saw there were whitening pens out there, but the whitening pens, as soon as you brush it on, what's going to happen? Your lips collapse down. Saliva washes it away. You're basically eating the product. It's not effective. So my first aha moment was, well, I like the pen because it's like painting your nails, and it gets in all the nooks and crannies and really get up to the gum line, but not get on the gum and get into the areas where the teeth are crossed over. But how are you going to hold the lips up? Okay, so my first aha moment, and I got a patent on this, was, and I went into the next iteration a couple of years later. It was just putting something that was made of cotton up under the lips to keep everything dry, like I do in my patient, with my patient in the office, and then painting on, leaving the gel on for contact for 10 minutes, but your lips are not collapsing down. The area is dry. So it gives the time for the hydrogen peroxide to actually break down into oxygen and water, because the oxygen molecule, or the oxygen radical molecule, is what goes into the tubes of the teeth and breaks up the bonds of the stains.
Okay.
That's the oxygenation. That's why hydrogen peroxide is so effective in whitening the teeth. And it actually was discovered by accident because they were using a low-level hydrogen peroxide back in the late 1800s or early 1900s to actually treat gum disease.
As like a mouthwash and rinse?
It actually was, they were painting it on the gums. I don't know exactly how the delivery was, but they saw as a side effect or a benefit, people's teeth were getting whiter.
Right.
So that's how they discovered teeth whitening.
Amazing.
So hydrogen peroxide at a low level is actually very healthy for the gum tissues, which we'll talk about also. So I also wanted to make sure that, you know, you see a lot of gels and people are going on Amazon and they're buying things. They don't know where it's coming from. Is it made overseas in China?
Don't do that. Are people really doing that? Don't mess around with your teeth.
All the time. And you don't even know what's in those gels. But here's the thing, pH. Is it alkaline or is it acidic? Acid is really, really, really bad for the teeth. Okay. If you're putting a gel that's sitting on your teeth for 10 minutes, 2 weeks, for 30 minutes, for 5 days, whatever, it's contact time. If you're putting acid on your teeth, you're hurting your enamel. You're softening your enamel. So I make sure that all our gels are pH neutral. They're not going to harm the teeth. Our gels are also water-based. So they're made with water. So while it's whitening, there's hydration coming into the tooth structure. So it's like soothing the teeth. I'm also the hugest fan, like xylitol. Okay, xylitol was big in the 1970s and it kind of like went out of style. Well, it's back in style, really back in style, but I've been using it and it's an expensive ingredient. I will not shy away from xylitol. Xylitol helps with the mineralization of the tooth. Your tooth is made of minerals, calcium and phosphate. Xylitol helps the tooth take up any calcium that's kind of swishing around your saliva and go into the tooth. Xylitol actually fights plaque. Xylitol is good for your oral microbiome. Okay. And our mouth is a gateway to the rest of our body. So I put xylitol in all my formulations. I kind of say that all my teeth whitening formulations have an emulsion of water and xylitol, and it's pH neutral. That's so important. And a lot of people,
how would we at home know if we're buying one of these products, you know, like for me buying the Crest White strips, how do you know if it's pH neutral?
You don't, you know, the problem is it's a little bit dry. You can buy those pH strips like on Amazon and do a test if you want. But there's also, it's not just about the pH, it's the water content. And there's not much water content in strips because they have to be on the drier side.
Right.
So because you're creating like a seal, you're creating a dehydration. And that's not good. And especially if you're using them super often. The fact that you're not using them that often, I'm not going to say it's terrible.
But it's not great.
I would definitely, like, you know, I have that toothpaste that was just featured in New Beauty for the fall, which is called the Smile Saver. It has that nanohydroxyapatite, which is actually the building block of your teeth. It's calcium and phosphate. It's the mineral. So you want to use that consistently, that toothpaste, to rebuild the mineralization in your teeth while you're whitening and after you're whitening.
So you are thinking, because I always thought it was like, you know, if you're spending the money on this stuff, so things need to be in contact with whatever it is you're trying to do. So that's why I'm like, you know, if you have the money to spend a lot of money on a face wash, great. But if you don't, and you're budgeting, you know, go for a serum or a cream or something that's going to stay on your skin contact longer. I was assuming it was the same thing with toothpaste.
It's not necessarily the contact time, but the Smile Saver toothpaste that we have, it actually helps remineralize, but I also have instructions not to rinse it out afterwards. It's like your last step beforehand. And if people are like really sensitive or they have gum recession, I tell them to take a little swipe and on a Q-tip and then paint it on and go to bed with it. And even if you have a night guard,
on the gums,
even on, no, not the gums.
Oh no, I was painted on the teeth.
Yeah. But it's not a whitening product. It's a remineralizing product. There's absolutely nothing in it that can harm you whatsoever. So it gets on your gum tissue. That's no big deal whatsoever. And it doesn't have any ingredients that would be harmful. It also has xylitol. It's also pH balance. So my whole theory behind the oral care that I create is that it's not going to harm the teeth. It's going to be easy to use. It's not going to create sensitivity, and it will actually even be beneficial for your teeth.
So what does the new kit look like? I know we were talking about the old one with and you painted it on and you have the cotton. Is that still what the system is?
No.
I've never tried the system.
Can you hang on for 1 second? I'll
yeah.
intelliWHiTE closet.
Yeah, let's see.
So this is our newest system. It actually was just submitted for a new beauty award.
Oh, good. We're doing okay. Good luck. Shoot. Well.
Okay. So we won't know till April. This is something that I have multiple patents that I've written. I actually designed a mouth guard.
Okay.
That's completely flexible, BPA free.
You put it in, I'll narrate for you since you're doing this, and it's holding your lips up, and then you're painting on the gel and leaving it for 10 minutes. Yep. Brilliant.
Okay. But also our newest product is called Fusion. And you see, it's actually in an airless pump. It's not in a pen. And the reason why I did an airless pump is it keeps the gel potent every single time you use it. Like it's at its highest efficiency. Because there's no air getting in there.
Sure, and then no oxygenation. Yep.
And peroxide's a very sensitive product. So anything can make it start to break down. And then all you do is you press, put it on the brush, you have your garden,
and paint it on.
Paint, and that's it.
So how long does it take to see results when you're using this system?
You start to see results probably, and you're only using it for 10 minutes a day. And then you take the guard out, you pat your teeth, and you go on your way. As I said,
you don't rinse it out. Sorry, wait, I'm stopping. You don't rinse.
You don't rinse, eat, or drink for 20 minutes because it's still working. After that initial 10 minutes of contact time, just pat any of the excess away, take the guard out, and you're fine to go because it's already started to break down into its oxygenation. So already in the tubes of the teeth. And then for 20 minutes, you don't eat, drink, rinse, or brush.
Oh.
It's still working. It's not an immediate brush it away because then you're wasting whatever the whitening is actually still going on.
And what is the concentration of peroxide?
So this one has a total concentration of about 12% peroxide in it.
That's a pretty high amount, right? Because what do they use in office?
In office, like a 30? 25 to 30, which is really high.
Really high.
I don't recommend going over like 14%.
But my husband is whitening his teeth right now with the dentist, and I'm with this special, he had the molds made specially for him. And I feel like that was maybe a 15%. And that's
probably 15%. It might be carbamide peroxide.
Oh.
Which carbamide peroxide is 1/3 the strength of hydrogen peroxide. We actually have a blend in here of carbamide and hydrogen peroxide, which makes it really interesting as well, because carbamide takes 3 times longer to break down. So you have more time release whitening, and the hydrogen peroxide is very quick to break down into the oxygen. So you have instant whitening effects with this, and then also time release whitening effects with this.
Whatever he's using, I know the first time he did it and he put too much in the tray. And it comes in like little syringes. Oh my God, you would have thought that like somebody stabbed him in the thigh. I mean, he was crawling out of his skin because it was so sensitive.
But men with their pain threshold is so much less than women.
So ridiculous. I was like, please stop that. But like in all fairness, I was like, okay, this hurts. But yours is that's a pretty potent amount then.
No sensitive. We did clinical studies, 100%, and independent clinical studies. I am not allowed to go on air and say,
well, yeah, anything. I know with HSN has, it's very rigorous.
Very, very strict. 100%, 30 participants not had a zing. And 100% of these people, we've never seen numbers like this. 100% of these, and I've been whitening a long time, 100% said they've never used something that they've seen such great results. So I think it's also hybrid mixture, and also the fact that it's so potent because it's coming out of the air, the airless container. And then also you have, your mouth guard or your lip guard that's holding the lips up, which I have a patent on and I've designed it so nobody else can do anything like this.
Interesting, so, and this is also, again, because, as a 42-year-old, I'm getting braces, but this is something that you could wear, that you could use with the invisible braces.
Yeah. Your
'cause
braces
you're painting it on.
your braces are going to be behind your teeth, correct?
Yes.
You absolutely can use this. You can use this all the time. Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Am I going to be hating life? I'm going to be hating life for a couple of weeks,
You
right?
might get a little sore on your tongue.
Yeah.
You might need to put like the wax on the brackets in the back. I don't know if you're hating life. I don't have much experience with that new system. I'm sure that they've done their best to smooth out any of the really sharp edges, because obviously,
inside.
Yeah.
Okay. So back to whitening. So this is your kit. How long for results would you say?
So in about 4 10-minute treatments, you'll start to see results. I would give it 7 days. And then we measured at 7 days and at 10 days. After 10 days, most people had an average of 7 shades lighter, but some people had
shades.
More. Yeah.
Do you have a shade thing in with the kit so that people can see at home?
We do not provide a shade guide.
Got it. Okay. All right.
But we always tell everyone to take before and afters.
That's
and
you
it's getting amazing results. And when we launched this on HSN, oh gosh, I don't know if it was September. I don't remember. We sold out like 10,000 like that, like done.
So, by the way, what does this cost?
This cost $46.95, but you have 100. You have 100 pumps in here. 100.
So this is something that you're going to get your immediate whitening after 10 days, or rather not immediate, but you're going to have your majority of the whitening, and then you can use as a maintenance.
Yeah.
$46 is, what is in-office whitening is very expensive.
In New York City, it's usually about 500.
Yeah, I was going to say about 500, 500. So, you're talking about a tenth of the price. If people want to purchase this, where do they go?
hsn.com or shopintelliWHiTE.com.
Or shop intelliWHiTE. Now, what else would you say is sort of like the next thing for you?
We have some new light technology coming out next year.
Okay.
And I also have something that's very interesting, because I'm very into the remineralization of the teeth these days. I'm all about, just like, we're trying to get collagen back into our skin as we get older, and there's so much maintenance with that. Considering what us Americans do to our teeth day in and day out with acidity, with orange juice and tea and wine, and whatever the heck else, tomato sauce, acid is eating away our enamel. And as we get older, and I see this with my patients all the time, the enamel starts to get thinner and thinner, and then the teeth start to look darker, and they won't whiten that well, because what you're seeing is the understructure of the teeth starting to show through.
And was that the dentin?
Yes.
Oh my God. I don't even know where I just pulled that out from, and dentin is actually like a yellowish color, correct? Yes.
Dentin
and it's like
has a yellow color. Absolutely.
Where did I get this from? I don't know, because I'm obsessed with teeth and teeth whitening. And I didn't have dental insurance in my 20s. So every time I went to my dentist, I was like, tell me exactly what you're doing. Tell me why, because I'm also sending you on a trip to Tahiti right now. Every time I went there, I was like, oh boy.
I know. So I have another remineralization product coming out, I think sometime in February. You can't make a remineralizing mouthwash. So I'm doing a product that is kind of works on fresh breath, but also remineralizes the teeth at the same time. I can't 100% talk about it yet. So I'm just finishing writing the patent, but I'm very excited about this product. And then I've been, kind of thinking about children. I want to do a child's toothpaste, because I think that there's so much junk out there. Ugh. And kids swallow everything. And it doesn't have to necessarily be like all organic and whatever, but I've read so many, there's actually a medical study that I just read about xylitol, that if children are introduced to xylitol at a very young age, it can prevent cavities later in life.
What do you think about fluoride treatments for adults? It's funny. My dentist started asking me, like, do you want fluoride? I'm like, am I 5? Do you?
Unless your teeth are really weak, I think that the nanohydroxyapatite actually is a very, very good substitute for fluoride.
Right.
Fluoride's okay. I'm not against fluoride whatsoever. Here's my fluoride toothpaste, the Pro White. which won the New Beauty Award last
But
year.
this was an actual like fluoride treatment, like a separate,
no, it's high level. It's high level. It's not needed unless you're someone who has extremely dry mouth. And start to get cavities everywhere, or there's an extreme softening in enamel. I'm really have moved into the thinking of the nanohydroxyapatite.
I love this.
That's what the NASA scientists used in the 70s. That's how it was discovered. It wasn't nanosized then, but that's what the NASA astronauts were given when they came back to Earth, because something with the gravitational force, their teeth got really weak when they came back.
Wow.
So hydroxyapatite was given to them and their teeth were stronger. And nanohydroxyapatite has been shown to actually help remineralize early cavity lesions, like very early. So
Dr. Jablow, where are you located in the city? I feel like
I'm on 18 East 50th. If you sit in my chair, you're looking at St. Patrick's Cathedral. It's a really beautiful view, actually. It's really pretty. I'm next door to Saks, which is very dangerous.
Very dangerous. But you know what? The next time I actually have to make a little trip there, I think I'm going to have to come and see you, because it's so clear that you're not only passionate about teeth, but that you're so well informed. And listen, here's the one thing that I know. I know that, like, when we're younger, it's like you're only given one body. And we hear this stuff. We hear this about suntan lotion, put it on.
Yes.
More and more, I'm starting to understand, take care of your teeth, because I've seen it with, some older friends of mine, some of my parents too. Yes. Dental work is expensive. It is painful, and you want to keep your own teeth as long as possible.
And I myself hate sitting in the dental chair. I'm the worst patient in the world. So I will do everything to avoid having to have a cavity filled or any of that stuff.
I go 3 times a year for my cleaning. I love it.
Yeah,
I love having my teeth cleaned. I don't actually love the thing, but I'm like, just keep them white, keep them bright.
So another thing about gum health, your teeth could look gorgeous. They could be super white, super healthy. If your gums are not healthy, and I'm assuming yours are going 3 times a year, nothing is healthy. Because if your gums are puffy, they're bleeding, you can obviously have bone loss, lose your teeth, but it can create disease in the rest of your body. It can create a whole cascade of inflammation in the rest of your body. I talk to all my pregnant patients about coming at least 3 times, if not 4, during their pregnancy, because they're even more sensitized to a little bit of plaque. Then there's a lot of inflammation. It's linked to premature births.
You're hitting close to home. I literally today, my friend is at a wake for a woman who had a cavity that didn't get taken care of, and she got, I believe, sepsis and died.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah.
Young, 50. I think she was in her 50s. So
your head's not separate from the rest of your body.
And it's so close to your brain if you're getting any sort of infection there.
Yeah.
And that's actually, let's end this on a positive note. Taking care of
one tip I had, hydrogen peroxide at a low level is your friend. And why is it your friend? You can add it to your toothpaste, because hydrogen peroxide, the bacteria that sits under the gum line is called anaerobic, meaning it can't live in an oxygen environment. So any of that periodontal bacteria, if you're brushing with low level peroxide, goes down into oxygen under your gum, you're disrupting the bacteria every single time you brush. So either if you're brushing with peroxide, fantastic, adding it to your toothpaste, or water flossing and adding a cap full of peroxide into your water flosser and introducing it under the gum line, it's amazing for your whole health.
Now, with the peroxide, are you talking about does your toothpaste have the peroxide in it, or do we actually
my power boost? If you put it, you see how there's a clear gel right on the toothbrush, next to that's my Pro White toothpaste, the white toothpaste. We have multiple types of toothpaste, fluoride free and with fluoride, but the power boost, it's 4.5% peroxide with xylitol. I am a big xylitol fanatic.
Got it. Okay. Now listen. Is it something too, I know you mentioned this. I love this in this gel form. I probably would never do this one, but could you dip your toothbrush in hydrogen peroxide? Is that a bad idea? I would get it to taste disgusting, but
I think it tastes pretty bad, honestly.
Yeah, okay. Well, you're just saying brush with hydrogen peroxide.
Yeah, so but the thing is, it's so liquid, and so it has such a low viscosity because You need something more gel-like that will be able to withstand brushing through the whole mouth. I mean, the minute you dip your toothbrush into peroxide and you introduce it into the mouth, the saliva is going to dilute it, instantly.
You are, I don't mean to cut you off. We are running out of time, but I will tell you too, that especially now with the mask wearing, which I don't think is going away anytime soon. Sorry to say it. So that kind of bacteria and that grossness that you're going to have in your mouth, this is going to definitely help this. I'm going to order some right now for White or Small. So again, Dr. Jablow, if people want to know more about your intelliWHiTE, they should go to shopintelliWHiTE.com. And if they want to come in and see you, if they're in the New York area, where do they go?
They can just Google Dr. Jennifer Jablow, and it's 18 East 50th, and call and make an appointment. I'm happy to see everybody. But I really look at dentistry holistically. It's not just about filling a cavity. It's kind of the whole Megillah, and it's what are you eating? What are you brushing with? All that stuff, that's all going to be discussed. It's not just laser focus. We really have to look at the whole picture.
Sure. And I love too that your social media handle is Dr. White Smile. So if you want to go and kind of see the behind the scenes, Dr. White Smile. I love it. Thank you so much for being on today.
Of course. Thank you for having me. It was really a lot of fun.
Oh, I had a great time too. Always do. And if you at home listening, you want me to ask any questions to Dr. Jablow, happy to do that. You can email us at hello@artbeautypodcast.com. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and here on YouTube at Art Beauty Podcast. And as always, we will see you next Tuesday.